Good evening, everybody. How are you guys doing? Welcome to She Who Found Her Purpose. I am going to be your host for this journey. My name is Linnell, and I am so happy that you are here tonight. The reason I wanted to do this show is to just bring awareness to the different things in the community that we may not talk about. I wanted to highlight people in the community that may not always be highlighted and that are great and that really need their stories out there. I want to make sure that the situations that we go through every day are normalized because a lot of the time we think that we're by ourselves and we're not. So I want you guys to know that you're not alone. And I just want to make sure that you guys have the tools that you need because nobody knows how to navigate life. It's all about trial and error. And that's what this show is about, making those mistakes, learning from them, learning together, and just learning how to navigate life. So once again, I'm Linnell. I'm going to bring you a lot of different stories on here. I'm going to tell my story. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, but this is definitely not about therapy. I don't want to therapize anybody, and that's not a real word, but you're gonna see that too. I'm gonna make up words. I'm gonna just, be real with you guys because that's who I am. But I want to make sure that you guys know that the things that I'm saying is just from my perspective. Don't think that you have to go out and do them, but definitely listen because you probably can take something away from these situations. So tonight I have an amazing guest. She's somebody that I really respect, that I met about 2 years ago, and that really has made an impact in my life, personally and professionally. She has an amazing story, and she just every day helps so many individuals just get their lives back and find their purpose and just, figure out where they're going and what they want to do. So, without further ado, and hey, Ty, I see you joined. I want to welcome Marvinette. Marvy, hi, how you doing? Yes, yes.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being my first guest.
Yes,
I know
ma'am.
this can be scary. I know that sharing your story and talking to people that you don't know and just being vulnerable is extremely hard. So I really appreciate you doing this for me.
No problem.
All right. So without further ado, I see we have a small group here, and it doesn't matter if we even have one. We want to make sure that you're getting something out of this. We want to go into our topic, which is the awakening. And the reason that we chose this topic or this title. Now, Marvinette chose this title because I asked her, what did she want to call this? This is her story. This is her time to shine. So, how did she want to make her introduction? And she said she wanted it to be called The Awakening because that's how she viewed her life and her transitions throughout life. So, Marvinette, I want you to speak a little bit about, why you chose that title, The Awakening.
For me, I remember waking up in the morning and thinking, I can't do this no more. So that's where the whole idea of the awakening came from. And I just asked God, like, help me.
Right.
For real this time, help me because I can't do this anymore.
And what exactly are you talking about you can't do anymore?
So, for anyone that doesn't know, my name is Marvinette, and I am a very, very, very grateful recovering alcoholic alcoholic and addict. um, so that's where my story, that's where it begins, and that's what I live every day.
Right. And it is an amazing story. And I'm so proud of you,
Thank you.
just for being able to say that here today. That takes strength. How many years has it been?
12 years and 29 days.
Okay. All right. And
So
we want to
thank you.
applaud you.
Thank you.
Definitely want to applaud you. And
Thank
you
you.
said you woke up and you said, I can't do this anymore.
Hmm.
Right?
In October of 2009, one of my best friends had this idea to have a birthday party with a brunch at Tiffany's. And that Saturday, we all got dressed up and we put on pearls. You know, we went on rodeo and we ate brunch outside next to Tiffany's.
Okay.
And at some point in that day, I got extremely drunk and extremely high.
Okay.
Um, and from what I understand, a few years ago, my little cousin Erica broke it down to me because she was there that I was just a complete fool, acting a nut in the people's hotel, passed out in the bathroom, was trying to fight people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't remember any of that, none of it.
Right. Right.
Um, what I do remember is waking up that Sunday morning because that was the party was on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up on that Sunday morning and I was at this guy's house that I was talking to at the time. And I was like, well, how did I get here?
Mm.
You know, and he was mad. I guess I acted a fool the night before. And he was like, let me just get you back over your friend's house.
Right.
So we get back to her house and both of my daughters are there. I think they were probably 6 and 12 at the time. They were still really young.
Okay.
And I remember walking in the house like, well, what happened? You know, I took a shower. The next thing I remember is going over my other friend's house who lived down the street, and the party continued.
Okay.
Right,
So you just kept on with
girl, just kept on.
Okay.
Right,
All
I
right.
just kept on. I just keep the party going, as my friend Anisha said. Keep the
Okay.
party going. And I don't remember anything after walking in her door to go
Mm.
to her house. So I was, you know, probably just shit faced the entire day. Uh, when I came to, I was in my car and I was up on Mulholland, which is probably about an hour away from where I was.
Okay.
And if you've never been up on Mulholland, it's up in a hill, it's windy, you know, and in that brief moment, that was God.
Mm-hmm.
In that brief moment, I came to, and I was like, well, you know, I'm in my car and I'm like, well, what the hell am I doing up here? I got scared. I remember being scared. I don't remember driving back down the hill.
Yeah, that was God.
Absolutely. That wasn't nobody but God, a
Yes.
truly loving God.
Yes.
And I don't remember going down. I don't remember getting back on the freeway. I don't remember driving. I don't remember any of that. When I came to again, I was on the side of the 105 freeway and my car had ran out of gas.
Mm.
Okay. And I called one of my friends. He came and gave me some gas and still keep the party going. I want to go to the strip club. You know, I'm about to go turn up. Like, oh, you know, and I'm sure that I was just a complete mess.
Right. Right.
And that's
'Cause
all I
at this
remember.
point, you had been up what about 24 hours or more?
Probably. And just partying, just, you
Mm.
know, my drugs of choice, alcohol, music, my car, you know, I'm by myself. I'm just, you know, I'm
Mhm.
in my zone.
Right.
Because
Right.
that wasn't the first time that I had been like that. That's just my what led me up to that was my rock bottom.
Right. Okay.
And I remember, I don't know how I got home. I remember waking up that Monday morning in my bed in my house, and I looked at my daughters, and I looked out the window to see if my car was there. Like, did I drive home? You know, and I could see my car parked across the street, and I said, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
You know, from what I understand, I drove them home from my other friend's house to take
Mm.
them back to my mom.
Oh. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
at that point you had put the babies at jeopardy, you had put yourself at jeopardy, you had put the community at jeopardy, you know. You was just on one. But thankfully, like you said, it was nothing but God because he kept you along the way. Because you said a couple of things. You was up on Mulholland Drive, which I'm familiar with that area, and it is, you know, at the top of a peak, windy road. People scared to drive that when they sober. You know what I mean?
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know. I know.
And then, you run out of gas and you're having these gaps in between all these spaces, from what you're saying. Like, I don't remember this, but then I woke up here and I'm, getting gas because I don't ran out of gas. And then I don't remember this, but then I woke up here and I'm with my baby. So he kept you all those ways. But like you said, you had to hit your bottom or come to that point when you were like, okay, I've had enough and I can't continue to do this because if I do, something bad is going to happen.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I got up and I had to go to work. Even in my addiction, I never, thank God, lost my job. I never lost my kids. I was thinking leading up to this, and I always say, but I never lost my job. I never lost my kids, but I
Mhm.
lost myself.
Yes. Yes.
And that just hit me the other day. I've been sober for 12 years.
Yes.
I lost me. And I remember that a high school friend of mine was in recovery. And I remember seeing him at his rock bottom. And I reached out to him on Facebook and he hit me right back. And then from that moment, he was my everything in my recovery. I hadn't talked to that man in probably 18 years at that time. We had been out of high school
Wow.
and reached out to him, told him my issue. I sat outside in front of the job on that bench,
Mm-hmm.
crying my heart out because I didn't want to do it anymore. I couldn't do it anymore. And he picked me up, started taking me to meetings, moving me around in these different circles. And that set me on the track for my recovery.
That is amazing. And girl, I'm getting emotional. Look, anybody that knows me knows that this subject is near and dear to me as well. And when you're dealing with people who are struggling or in their addiction, or dealing with substance use, and you'll hear me. I'll be politically correct sometimes, and sometimes, I won't.
Yeah.
But I'm not at work. It's 6 o'clock. Look, but I'm getting emotional because I've dealt with addicts my entire life and you don't know their struggle. Sometimes we look at it from just our perspective and we're so angry and we think that those individuals, it's easy for them and it's not. As hard as it is for them, it's difficult for us as well. I
Hmm.
mean, as hard as it is for us, it's difficult for them as well.
Yeah.
And you just saying that, and knowing you and knowing your struggle and knowing how far you've come and what you had to do to get there, that's amazing. And I want to commend you.
Thank
I
you.
apologize. Like I said, y'all know, y'all see me cry. I'm a laugh. I cry a lot, but it's just because I understand and I'm extremely proud of you. But in this moment, I also think about my life, my parents, my relationships, and I have to check myself. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Because sometimes I can be angry and I would lash out, and you can't do that because it's not my journey, it's theirs. And I need to
Right.
walk mine just like they need to walk theirs, and you can't be mad at someone because they're not doing what you want them to do.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Later in my recovery, and going back to what you just said,
Oh,
one of the
you have a comment right here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but let's see. Don Black, he said, "Hey Marvy, just want you to know that you inspired me to stop drinking. I admire
my
your
nigga
courage."
right there,
Look, that's
my
right.
nigga right there.
Yes, yes, definitely. You inspire a lot of people. Look at that. Yes,
I think
breathe.
that later in my recovery and moving around in these meetings, the I went to a marathon meeting one time, and that's just like on a holiday weekend. You just have nonstop meetings, different groups coming in, sharing. And one of the groups that was there was an Al-Anon group, and I didn't know nothing about Al-Anon, you know. And I sat in that meeting, and I remember where I was sitting. I was on Bullis Road in Compton, and I was sitting right in the middle. And it was hot. It was a lot of people in there, and the Al-Anon group had the stage, and they were sharing their stories about like you just said, about their parents or their husbands or, the grandmother or whoever it was. And I realized at that time how what I was doing was affecting my kids. When you're
Mm,
an addict and you're in that mode, not saying that you stop caring about the people that you love, because you really don't. You just start caring more about yourself.
right, right.
And oh, they'll be okay. My mom is going to take care of them. I was always blessed to have my mother, who was like always there,
Right,
always.
right.
And they're okay. They're with my mother. I'm gonna just take them to my mom, not really realizing the effect that my addiction or what I was doing had on my kids. Because when I tell you I was a whole mess, I mean an entire whole mess.
Mm.
Some of the stuff I was doing it should be embarrassing, but I can't really be embarrassed about it because I did it.
Right, right.
Um, when I generally, if I'm sharing in the rooms at AA, NACA, in an actual meeting, I always start my share with, of course, I'm Marvin, I'm a recovering alcoholic addict. I'm halfway in my right mind, and I'm working on the rest.
Okay, I like that.
And I'm also the friend that nobody wanted to go out with anymore.
Mm,
So I
mm,
said, you know what? Fuck it. I'll go out by myself.
hmm. And
And
that's
that's
deep.
exactly what I started doing. Hmm.
That's deep because that's another thing when people are in their addiction, and addiction can be anything. I know right now we're talking about substance use, but like Marvin had said, money, cars or whatever, the clubs, whatever, it can be anything. It could be stealing, it could be
Hmm.
food, it could be any of those things. And when it starts to take you away from the things that are really important, which,
Hmm.
like she said, her children, her family, just real life responsibilities, that's when it becomes a problem. That
Yeah.
is when we know that there is a problem.
Yeah.
And we see you, Ty. We love you too. And I love you, sister, too. I saw your comment. We love you guys. But that's when it becomes a problem. So, Marvin, Ed, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Uh, For me, my drinking and my drug use, I was running from life. I wanted to run from reality. I didn't want nothing to be real. Like my home life, whatever situations I was going through at the time, I just wanted to run from it. And like most addicts, you seek to self-soothe. And when
Yes.
you're self-soothing, whatever your thing is, I'ma just drink. Okay, well, I'm gonna try a little bit of this drug. Okay, well, I like this drug, and then I'm gonna try this drug. And I remember I got to the point in my drug use that I would mix the drugs.
Mm,
And I was like, ooh, like this is, I like this. But at the same time, like, well, you probably shouldn't be doing this and you probably
right.
shouldn't have this reaction to it. And bitch, you need to go to sleep.
Right. Right. Exactly.
You being up for 48 hours is not a good look.
Yes.
And
It
I've
is
done
not
that
good for anybody.
several times. Right. Right.
You start going into that psychotic state, and that's not healthy.
Right. When your eyes and your body want to go to sleep, but your brain is like, we up. Girl, what you doing? You want to get what you wanted to go over here? Okay, you want to go over here? It's it's now that I think about it, it's almost maddening. It's like
Hmm.
you're trapped inside of yourself,
It
trying to get
is.
out of it.
You
Okay, well
can.
then I'm gonna just take another drink
Mm,
and then just be drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking. I remember one time, uh, the last time I got put out of one of my favorite clubs, and I tell this story all the time, I got into a fight
mm.
and got put out of that club. They was like, look, you can't come back in here no more. Don't don't even come around the area, right? So I came home and it was like 2:30 in the morning. So I got a bright idea. And I say, well, they don't sell liquor in California after 2 o'clock. So I'm gonna go to 7-Eleven because 7-Eleven, you can just go in there and open up the freezer, the doors, and get the drink.
Oh, I didn't even. I didn't even know that.
It's a lie. That's what I told myself.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
get to 7-Eleven, drive my car to 7-Eleven, get out. Girl, the things lock at 2 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought, but okay.
Right. But I'm thinking I'm smarter than the average bear, and I'm gonna just go in here and get this drink. But that's how sick I was. That's how, and it really is a sickness.
It is. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Duke said, keep this positive vibe going. The struggle is real. Definitely. And I know there are a lot of people that are probably dealing with this. And I know that, we're laughing and we're making jokes, but the reason we're doing that, once again, is to make this relatable and to normalize this because we need to have these conversations. You know, um, just me personally, I'm tired of people shying away from conversations like this or feeling like it's taboo to be honest about how they felt when they were in their addiction, because a lot of programs want you to say I don't, it was never good, or no, I hated it. And that's not the reality. Okay, when you were in that moment, you continue to do it because it was pleasing to you in that moment. And sometimes you need to talk about that to see what you can find to replace that. You need a replacement behavior that's going
Yeah.
to make you happy, or that's going to bring you joy, or that's going to bring you to a place that you were when you were using, or when whatever you were doing at that time. And that's what they forget. So we want to make sure that we're saying that this is an important topic. We are taking this serious, but also you have to be realistic. And being
Yeah.
realistic means being real and being honest with not only yourself, but everyone else when we talk about the subject.
Right. I think that for me, where I am now, to be able to look back in my recovery, especially in the beginning of my recovery, and going to meetings, like I learned so much
Right.
about myself that I didn't even know. Initially, when you get into that, you're like, well, I don't want to go to this meeting because, this is just a bunch of old people, or this is just some
Right.
these people or that people. But when you get in there and you listen to these stories,
Mm-hmm.
all the stories are the same. One
Yep.
of my favorite books is called Your Blues Ain't Like Mine. So as
Okay.
time went on, I would say your blues ain't like mine, but the pain is the same.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, I never lost my kids. She might have lost her kids. He might have lost his wife. He might have lost his house. She might have lost this. At the end of the day, an addict is an addict is an addict. And we are
Yes.
all in here for the same reason.
Definitely.
So I had to learn to deal with life on life's terms, not on my terms. Because, see, when I'm an addict, I want to control everything, and
Yes.
I'm controlling everything with a bottle of, I think I used to drink Stoli vodka,
Ooh, I don't
pretty
even
much,
know what that is.
right, pretty much anything wet, but that was like my go to. And I had what I call a psychotic rationale that I didn't even know was a real thing until I got into AA. Like, okay, well, I'm drinking too much. I'm not going to drink vodka anymore. I'm going to drink wine.
Okay.
And all right, I'm not going to drink wine anymore because it gets me drunk and it gives me a headache. I'm going to start drinking non-alcohol, what I thought was non-alcoholic Old Duals beer. And then I
Okay.
found out that if I drank 6 of those, that I could get a buzz because it's
Lord,
5% alcohol.
right. But I mean, that's what addicts do. They figure out a way to continue
Hmm.
to get what they need.
Absolutely. Um, in the beginning of my journey, I remember, like, I had to completely disconnect from everybody. If you weren't my mom or my kids or work, I had to completely disconnect. Like, give me a minute.
Right.
Not telling anybody what I was doing. I need a minute by myself to think. And one of my cousins had sent me a text message, and she was telling me, inviting really the family, because her husband was going to give the word at church that Sunday, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? I ain't been to church in a while. Like, I can go. And right there, I knew, when I heard the word that he gave, I knew right then that I was in the right place and that I was doing the right thing.
Yes.
So, like, the first 6 months of my sobriety, I was in a shell: work, home, church,
Mm-hmm.
kids. repeat,
Right.
repeat,
Yes.
repeat until I got comfortable in my sobriety.
Yes. And it's different for everyone, but that once again works for you.
Mhm.
And separating yourself is sometimes what you have to do. You have to separate yourself from certain people. Not saying that it will always have to be like that, but until you gain your strength and until you are comfortable with yourself, sometimes that's what you have to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that leads
Absolutely.
me into, I guess, my next question. How were you able to maintain your relationships? How did that work for you?
I think that for my closest friends, um, because they could see me and what I was doing, um, for them it was just like, okay, we're just gonna give her this moment to be able to clear whatever up. One of the relationships that I was most worried about outside of my kids was with my mom. But
Right.
see, I thought I was slick.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was like, I know you're doing something. You, what is all this white stuff in this? This not our toys. This is, you know. So worrying about how she seriously that did the girl. Them stories is deep.
I know, because
So
I heard some of them.
right. Um, and not all of my friends were able to come out of that with me.
Right.
Like you just said, sometimes you have to do this journey, and sometimes people get left behind. And I just I just moved forward. I was able to. My core friends are my friends that I've had. One of them since I was 4.5,
Mm-hmm.
and then my set of best friends since high school. It's almost 30 years.
Right.
So that part was easy, thank God.
That was a
So
blessing because
the
a lot
real
of
always
people,
right. The real ones always stick around.
they do. They really do, or come back because, you can get into arguments or disagreements because, nobody's relationship is perfect, whatever type of situationship, relationship, marriage, friendship, whatever it is. Nothing is perfect. You're going to argue, you're going to disagree, but you have to agree to disagree. And if
Absolutely.
that relationship is strong enough, it's going to weather the storm. Just like
That
that
is
saying about what's meant will come back to you. If it's meant, it's
right.
going to come back.
Right. That's funny that you should say that. About a year before I ended up getting sober, shit faced again, drunk
Mhm.
at this club, high. I remember calling the man like to come down to the club to give me my stuff. And I ended up leaving there and crashed my car. Not
Mm.
once, but twice into the same parked car.
Oh,
So um, I remember backing up and then going forward and then backing up and hitting the car again, right? And
mm.
I'm panicked. I'm getting out of my car. The people run downstairs. And I told you this story. I had just got a new Gucci bag. I'm trying to give him
Oh,
my
yeah.
purse. Like, oh my God, here, don't call the police. Here comes God again. Some man, and for the life of me, I can't remember his name, came from downstairs, took me from where I was, took me around the building into the alley, and put me in his truck.
Mm.
So when the police came, they were like, we don't know where she went.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
God.
That was God.
Right. And I don't remember much about what happened the next morning. I do remember, I think I called my friends and I was like, something is wrong with me. They rushed down, take me to Kaiser. Okay.
Hmm.
And pushing me around, and everybody's asking me what happened. And, you know, uh, I must, and I was so fucked up in the head. I was like, I want to hurt myself. Like something is wrong.
Right.
And uh, I remember coming to in the room in Kaiser, and I was like, oh, when they start putting these windows in these rooms, like, I done been to in the ER at Kaiser before with my kids, and I'm looking around. Oh, this fancy back here, little door shut. It wasn't a curtain.
Girl.
Right. So I was like, let me get up to go pee. So I got up to go pee, and the security guard was like, where are you going? I said, to the bathroom. And the nurse was like, She's on a 5150 hole. She's on a 50. I'm turned around like, who on a 5150 hole? Me? So it gets better. So I'm like, okay, trying to understand what happened. And I remember my best friend's mom came, and she came and she prayed for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a man coming in the room and talking to me, asking me all of these questions, trying to figure out if I had a plan. I didn't even know what a plan was at that time. I'm sure you know what
I
that
know.
means for
Yes.
someone, right? So I was like, no, like, yeah, I'm gonna go home and not drink anymore. Like, that's my plan. And he was like, no, you have a plan to hurt yourself. And I was like, no, you know,
Yeah, because you
I
didn't
didn't know
even know
what
what
I
they
was
were
gonna do.
talking about.
I didn't. I had no
No.
idea. So he left out, and I'm thinking I'm getting ready to go home. Right. My,
Mm-hmm.
my 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 best friend, she comes in, one of my best friends, and I'm talking to her, and she makes the decision for me to stay overnight. And I'm like, well, bitch, I can't stay here overnight. Like, I'm ready to go home. You know, I'm tired. I'm not drunk anymore at this point, not
Right,
high
right.
anymore either. And she made the decision to leave me there.
How did
And
you feel about that?
I was angry at first,
Yeah.
but what that did was that gave me time to sit in that room with that window
Yes.
and realize what I had done, what happened, and it gave me time to kind of reevaluate myself. And then I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't upset at her anymore because it was the right thing to do.
Right,
And
right.
I'm indebted to her for making that decision for me. I
Yes.
appreciate it now, but then I was angry.
Right. What I heard was a lot of important points. And I think the main thing it comes down to is that you had a strong support system. You had your mom, you had your children, you had your friends, and they were able to weather that storm with you. And I think
Mhm.
that's something that's extremely important because
Yes.
we often forget that, especially in the Black community.
Hmm.
I would say that a lot of times, or I've seen both, but when people are in their addiction, we forget them. We don't want to be bothered with them anymore. And so that means that they don't have a support system, which
Yeah.
in turn means it's going to make them getting sober harder,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And we become one of the barriers that they have to overcome, even though we're not there, we are hindering that progress.
Yeah. The most important thing with that is not to become an enabler,
Hmm.
but to let them know, like, I'm here when you're ready and you need me. That's the
Yes.
most important thing to remember with that. And that's what
Yes.
they did. And that's why they still here now.
See, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So, what did you learn on your journey that you think helps you today?
Life shows up.
Okay, I like that. Life shows up.
Life
Okay.
shows up. When you're an addict, again, you do these things to self-soothe and to get away from reality and to try not to have to deal with whatever it is that you have going on in your life. But when you get sober, you realize, my electricity bill is still gonna be due. My rent still has to be paid. These kids still need to be mothered. Um, you know, there's good days and there are bad days.
Right.
And you just got to deal with that shit as it comes. Like, there's no running from it.
Yes.
Nowadays, me running from it is me sitting on my couch reading a book.
Yes.
So that's, yeah, I see
And
Tyler's.
yes, Tyler said good friends hold you accountable. And
Yeah,
that's very true,
yeah.
you know?
So, and it's that if you keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, it literally is insanity. I tell the clients all the time, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
That's good. Uh-oh, Touche
And
said,
it's the
I love
truth.
her. She on point. She is Touche.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
she
you,
on
Touche.
point. She on point.
Um, so I've learned that I just have to deal with things as they come. and that I am only one person. Um, and like I said, life shows up.
Yes.
It doesn't stop. There's still a reality to things. You know, I still got to go to work. We still got to do everything, and I can't just
Everything.
run and hide in the closet and act like it's not there.
Okay. So let me ask you something. How has life shown up for you? What you doing now? What great things are going on for you?
Um, I've had a lot of positive things happen in sobriety, and also negative things. Um, I lost my brother,
Hmm. I'm sorry to hear that, and I know my condolences.
and you know, 12 years ago, I would have drank through that. Um, I've watched my oldest child become a mother twice,
Yes.
and blessed me with the two loves of my life.
Yes, beautiful. They are beautiful.
Um, you know, I got married, and
Yes.
I love
Oh,
my
I can't
husband.
wait till I find me a husband. Look,
And
yeah,
he's
look.
coming. He's coming.
He is.
Um, I love my husband to life, but every day is not, peachy keen. We still have issues. We still have things that we have to go through. Um, I watched my mother be sick, like sick, sick.
Right.
And in the beginning of her being sick, I was high and drunk most of the time because I didn't want to deal with it.
Right. Yeah.
So things still happen. I I've watched my kids graduate from high school sober, all three of them, thank God,
Yes.
completely sober.
Yes. A
I've
blessing.
had right, right. Um, I've had highs and lows with my finances, a lot of lows.
Hmm.
But I'm in a different place today, and
Yes.
I deal with things differently, and I've learned to deal with life on life's terms,
Yes.
not on my
Yes.
terms.
You have to. You have
Yeah.
to. You have to. So, before I ask you what message you have to the audience, and Touche said that's great. Definitely,
Thank you.
definitely a great message that you brought today. Um, I just want to talk a little bit about what you do in your day to day life, just because it's amazing and you bless people every single day. I feel like you bless people even when you're not trying to. You're just a blessing to a lot of individuals. I don't know if you know that, but you definitely are. And I want to make sure that you get your flowers while you're alive. So you are the program manager to the program, that I currently work for. But I want you to talk about it because I could say what I want to say about it, but I want you to tell them what you do so you can tell them your passion and how you bless people every day.
So, with all of us on our team, and I just talked about this morning in the orientation, people are our passion.
Yes.
Um, so, as of now, I manage a program that deals with the reentry community. Inadvertently, I've been dealing with the reentry community with my CEO for about 12 or 13 years now because I've been in my job for 21 years. And now to be in these programs where I can control the things that we can give to these people. Thank you, Rashonda.
Mhm.
Um, that we can provide these services to people and be able to help them with therapy, which is where you come in, or with the legalities of what they're dealing with, which is where Tyler comes in, or having someone to meet them at their level, which is Christopher Terrell. Really, all of us.
Yes.
Um, but Christopher and Terrell do an amazing job with that. So now I'm able to be able to create policies, procedures, and implement things that I want to see happen so
Yes.
that we could help our clients. And it is amazing. I tell people all the time, I like to see other people happy.
Yes.
I like to
You
watch my
do.
kids on Christmas morning just opening up. I don't care if I get anything.
Right.
I like to be able to see, you guys do your thing at work and just be excited about it. Like that that moves me, that motivates me, that makes me feel good.
Right.
So we're in a position now to be able to help people who have interacted with the criminal justice system. And you know that we have people that have done 45 years, people that have done 5 years, people that have done
Yes.
35 years, and we treat everybody the same.
Mm-hmm.
We have you come in here on some bullshit and you're going to get some bullshit.
Yeah.
And we're very open, right? And we're very open with that. So on a daily basis, that's what I do. I manage a team of amazing people, and we have a probably combined over 340 clients that have walked through the both programs that we have helped.
Right. Yes, definitely. And every day, because we work with someone so amazing that has the mindset that she has, we're able to touch all these people. You
Hmm.
know, individuals with lived experience, and like I said, I wasn't going to be used being politically correct. People that have lived life and just been through some things, they're blessings.
Yeah.
And I think that's another reason I wanted to make sure that I just highlighted individuals in the community with a story, because there are a lot of people with lived experience that you would never have thought, you
Yeah.
know, have had all of these barriers come, or have them come against all these barriers. And I just want to highlight something that you said. I want to go back because I'm always listening. But you are always talking about how you just want to see other people happy,
Hmm.
and making sure, that they feel that appreciation or excitement or glorification, because even at your birthday party, you make sure that you say that all the time. And just me being a therapist, I'm always going deep, but I feel like that's probably because maybe before you felt like you were disappointing people, and now you're not, and you're actually
Yeah.
making people happy, and it feels good. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And I think that's great. I think you're great. I
Thank you.
believe that you are a blessing, and there's a reason that our paths cross. And I know I tell you that all the time, but I really truly do, feel that way. Let's see, Shonda has something to say. What she say? Junior says that he is very proud of you and he knows how far you've come. He also loves the way that you're giving back to the community. Definitely. Because
I
that's what
love
it's
him
all
too.
about. That's right.
I
You
I
know,
want to touch on what you said, like going back to the lived experience. And when we say lived experience, like you said, we mean somebody that's been to prison before.
yeah, prison,
I
jail, been on the streets, anything,
Right.
any of that.
I ain't never been to prison. I ain't never been to jail. I ain't never been arrested.
Ooh,
You
that's a
know,
blessing, y'all.
right? But we talk about this at the same time. It is part of my story. I tell people all the time, like I'm just a poor little mixed girl from Compton. I grew up in the 80s and the early 90s. Like I grew up in the streets. I've done a lot of things, like I said earlier, that I should be, ooh, like I dodged that bullet. And it's been plenty of those bullets. So
Yes.
when you can put a group of people together like us who have overcame, not to mention it, throughout my sobriety, not only did I get sober, I also got 2 degrees, much like you.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And then we
Mhm.
have our Tyler,
Yes.
who was a
Ooh.
28-year-old attorney. Like,
Attorney,
where
y'all.
that come
Killing it.
from?
Killing it.
Our peer navigators who have both had been in prison before, to be able to come out and then get with this team and
Yes.
be able to give back. Like, we are amazing,
Amazing.
girl.
Period. Okay. Yes.
Period. Pooh.
Right.
Right.
And we give them all this when they come to us. But
Right.
that's why the program is so successful.
Right.
Because once again, like Marvin had mentioned, we meet them where they're at. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? We're not giving them anything fake. We're giving them all of us.
Yeah.
Touche said, yes, Linnell, she's rehabilitated. So I'm going to tell you something, Touche. I'm gonna have to correct you on this because I don't like using the word rehabilitated. And I told Marvinette this. I like using the word rebirth. And the reason I don't like rehabilitated is because that means that you're taking yourself back to a normal state. A lot of us haven't had a normal state. A lot of us never had a normal life because we was just, we was doing us. So we had to figure out what normal was, and we didn't really find that until we became adults. Until we were what, 10, 12, 15, 20 years into our sobriety, from whatever that addiction
Life.
was. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or into life. Yeah. So we're going to use the word rebirth. We're going to rebrand rehabilitation and use rebirth. We're not using
Right.
that no more. But yes, Touche, I know what you mean. She is a new woman. She's not who she used to be. As I tell my clients, that's a behavior that you displayed before. That's not who you really were, because
Mm-hmm.
you're figuring out who you are now.
Yeah.
And what Touche say, she said, well, I stand corrected, but I know, yes, ma'am, and I know, because you all about the wordplay. But definitely, definitely, it's all about, I guess, the metamorphosis. I like that word as well. It's about just, growing and
Yeah.
transitioning and phases in life, because that's another thing that builds growth. So, Marvinette, before you go, what message do you have for the audience? What would you like to tell them? And yes, Ty, we changing the narrative. I love you too, Touche. And Ty, you said I love that. Change it. Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
LLC, you guys. Change the narrative. Oh, what did Ryan say? Ryan said, Marvinette, what has been your rebirth? Okay, Ryan. Marvy, what's been your rebirth?
My rebirth is exactly who and where I am right now.
Okay.
This is my rebirth. This is a version of Marvinette that didn't exist. I guess you really always have that inside of you, but she didn't really exist 12 years ago because she was busy, running and chasing other things. So my rebirth is this.
Okay. He
This.
said, okay. I'm going to say it
This.
in my voice, but he said, okay. No, and definitely, I concur. That's amazing. I'm not there yet. I am transitioning, but definitely, I think we're all on a path of rebirth. I think the pandemic put us on track to that, because we were all in the house. We had to figure out who we were, what we was good at.
Yeah.
People started businesses and started to shine, and you know, everybody trying to figure out what their rebirth is. So I really, really like that. Right now, this is my rebirth. I'm growing,
Right.
so I'm on my way.
In
And
the
what's
in
your
the room
message?
in the rooms of AA, we learn that we seek progress and not perfection.
Definitely.
So every day I have to figure out, and I have over the last 12 years, I have progressed and learned a little bit about myself. And just like I always give the example when we're doing our CBT training, like my message would be that you always have to do a personal inventory. If you treat your body like a store,
Yes.
and if you go to your local 7-Eleven and they always have the same products and they never, take out the old products and put in fresh products and change the Slurpee machine and change the ice, or the chili, or they
Right.
still selling the damn Super Sacco from 1991, you don't want to go to that store anymore. So you
Right.
have to do yourself the same way. You have to dig inside of it. Tara, girl, I love you. um, you have to do that same thing with yourself.
Right.
So you have to do an inventory of yourself, even if it's just a couple of seconds a day. Like, what can I change today? Because if you keep all that old shit inside of you,
Mm-hmm.
then you're never able to grow. Nobody's never
Yeah.
going to want to come to your store.
Right.
You'll
Yes.
never be an attraction. You're gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna go to that food for less because the last time I went, they meat stank. Or you
Shut
know,
up.
I'm not gonna go over here to this Northgate because that I seen a mouse in the back, but you
Mm-hmm.
have to do yourself the same way. think of yourself like a store. Look
Right.
inside, and what can I take and throw out of here, and what can I replace that with? And you keep that going, and know that there is you can do anything that you put your mind to.
Yes.
If you really want your sobriety, and if you really want to change, and if you really want to be able to become a newer, better version of yourself, then you take the time and you do that.
Yes.
And that would be, what I would say to the addict that's still suffering, and to anyone that needs to make a change. It can be done,
Yes.
absolutely, if you want it.
Oh, my stepdad said you go. That's right.
Hey, Dad.
Definitely. Yes. And you are right. If you put your mind to it, if you want it enough, anything is possible, and you are a beautiful example of that.
Thank you.
I mean, I know this short time we weren't able to really tell your full story, but if people want to reach out to Marvinette, if you on Facebook or Instagram, and you want to talk to her, maybe she'll share that with you. But just the part that she shared, I just want you guys to know, and I'm sure you already know, she is amazing. The things that she has overcome definitely scream strength. She is someone that I have learned so much from. Like I said, not only for my personal life, but professionally as well. And I'm continuing to grow. Even like she said about keeping that inventory, because we talk a lot and she knows just about checking yourself, taking away the negative, trying to keep the positive. No one is perfect. We all make mistakes, but it's all about learning.
Yeah.
And Ryan said, amen. He needed that message. Thank you. What did Tara say? She said, chapter 5, baby. Won't he do it?
Girl, won't he will. You
That's
know, I'm gonna share a story real quick about the beginning of my sobriety, and Tara, maybe you would probably understand this. When I first got sober, I went to a meeting and they were like, "Okay, we're gonna give the big book to a newcomer."
right.
I'm the newcomer, right?
Mhm.
And I got my big book. Oh, and I was so excited. Girl, I came home and read the whole book. Y'all know I love to read.
Yeah, I'm like, girl, look, that's the big book. Look, you.
The whole big book, and ate up
Ooh.
everything that was in there, and the stories. And then I went to a study, and a big book study. And the man said, well, the first page is blank because you don't know shit about recovery.
Mm.
I don't wrote on my first page, like I got all these notes in there, and I thought that I was too smart for my own good. Like I'm gonna just read this book and then I'm gonna be okay. I still go
Right.
back to my big book. It's in the bookshelf right over here right now.
I still
I
got my
pull it out
little
every once in a
Bible
while.
from when I went to jail. I got this little Bible that just refers to, certain situations. If you're sad, if you're dealing with stress, if you're
Yeah,
dealing with grief. And, once again, I know a lot of people don't know that, and I will have a show on that as well. But, there are certain things that you take with you just to help your growth and your transition and to help you make sure that you focus on the future and not on the past, because it's okay to remember where you've been, but you really want to focus on where you're going, if
absolutely,
that makes sense. And not only
absolutely.
that, the present, because we lose sight of a lot of things looking into the past and the future when we need to be in the moment. What did Ty say? You're both amazing. Happy I've had the chance to know you, and we blessed to know you.
We love you too, Tai Tai.
Yes, love you so much. Oh, and she said so proud of you, but we proud of you too. Thank you. That's why we work so well together, y'all. We
Right,
love each other, but it's not only that, it's about just black love, black support. You know what I mean? That's huge. Just individuals, but not even black. And I want to say that too, because I did want to tell you in the beginning, it is National Native American Month. And I
yes,
want to
I
tell
am.
you, and I know you Native American. Look, so I wanted to tell you Happy National Native American Month.
Thank you. I appreciate it. My ancestors, thank you.
Yes, you're cool. But hopefully they give me a little bit of blessings since I'm
Right.
a dream catcher. Look, look, Tara said that's right, laughing out loud. I did the same thing, started amends immediately, train wreck, laughing out loud.
Yeah. You know, one of the funny things about her is that I remember being in a meeting in Compton, and I saw her when she walked in, and my first instinct was to run to her and hug her because she
Mhm.
reminded me of my mother. But I didn't, because she would have
Mm.
thought I was crazier than I already
Right.
am. And that's she was definitely an attraction to me in the beginning of my sobriety.
Well, I think individuals always find that one person, and that it ends up being their mentor or their oh, correct me, what am I, their
Sponsor.
sponsor. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Ends up becoming their sponsor. And that's something that's important as well. Some people just have those spirits, you know, and
Yeah.
when they have that spirit, ooh wee, that's another topic, because you
Yeah.
can get overwhelmed having that spirit because you draw a lot of people to you, and that's
Hmm.
another test. But
Right.
that's for another show. But yes, I want to thank you, thank you, thank you for being on my show tonight, for being the first person on my show tonight, and testing these waters with me. I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight and, just showed their appreciation for Marvinette, engaged with us, asked questions, gave her affirmations. We really,
Absolutely.
really appreciate you guys. I want you to tune in. I'll let you know when the next show will be. I don't know how often I'm going to do this, you guys. It's just a new venture. I'm missing my girls, that I had with me previously. But, sometimes you just have to continue pushing forward. So when they're ready, my door is always open for them to come back because they know I miss them. And it ain't never going to be the same without them. But until they do, I guess I'm going to keep the show going. If you guys have certain topics that you guys want to bring to the show, make sure that you put it in my inbox and let me know. Thank you, Jessica. I will try to keep up the great work. You guys continue to support us and come on. Thank you, Touche. I'm proud of you too, you know. And I'll come with the next topic. I believe I already know what that's going to be. I already have a guest for that show as well. It will probably be next Wednesday. I don't know what that date is. Let me see. It's the 10th. So tune in, but I will let you know. Follow me on my YouTube page, which is She Who Found Her Purpose. So follow, like, and share She Who Found Her Purpose on YouTube. And I love you guys, and I'll see you later. Thank you for joining. Again, thank you, Marvinette. We really appreciate you.
Thank
And we'll
you.
see you guys next time.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. I'll see you tomorrow, Linnell.
Okay. Bye.